a bit tentative, and I get we're tentative because we're Friday night and it's 7 o'clock nearly, and it's Monday night, 7 o'clock where it shuts. But we should be positive. Things are starting to just slope the right way, and now the countdown's on, eh?
Yeah, and so what to lay out people why there's increased activity on the back of some reason. It is, of course, kicked off by the fact that Newcastle have finally, it appears. Now we have to have exercise here as well, which you were quick to me off earlier on when I was getting a big, but they are at least very much. They have a player up. I saw videos where he came to Newcastle with his family. It looks like the medical is either ongoing or will soon be done. And that will mean hopefully that Nicola is a Newcastle player for a big old fee. He's not a guy having been previously linked with Bayern. We covered that in this show that you are going to be taken in as sorry. I'm sorry, but he's not a replacement for their striker who played almost minutes and scores no goals. So he is your new number 9 if it goes. Talk to us around this Strand Larsen thing. Was the umpteenth one, and this new one hopefully in the line.
Yeah, I've just seen, Trev, there's quite a lot of people put in the chat panel about Echo coming up back through, unfortunately. Oh, man. Still. Yeah. We are trying for you, gents and ladies, we promise, but these the echoes as comes through. Both of us.
Yeah, okay. Well, then they'll watch it. Look, we'll give it a go about reload without me. Makes any sense? You just have a go on your own, seeing as you have the stuff there.
Yeah, sorry, people. Sorry for everyone. Yeah, it's a shame, this, because we're excited for this one as well.
I'd like to be more sorry, but it ain't our problem. It ain't the fault. So there's something else. Where opt out, see what happens. I'll keep going. Let me know.
Will do. Cheers, Trev.
Yeah.
So ladies and gents, as we look for this one, literally, and we're trying to work through this, that we've had the lineup, haven't we? We had the panic around. Well, not panic. Maybe that's too strong. But the drama around Strand Larsen and Wolves would not accept that third bid. But just in the interest of avoiding sheer hypocrisy or anything else, Strand Larsen is now going to miss the game, isn't he, for Wolves this weekend? And Visser looks like he's going to miss the game as well. So if we're doing this right, and tell me if I'm doing it right, aren't I supposed to say like low ball offers, unsettling our players, destabilising, all my types of things like that? But just a point I'm making there, but it's this one, isn't it? It's the fact that, yes, it doesn't look like, or it may not look like Strand Larsen's coming, but Newcastle have got someone, haven't they? And it's going to be announced probably anytime soon. 7 foot tall Wolfgang, I think he's called. Looks like a Harry Potter character, doesn't he, to be honest? So there you go, people putting low balls, derisory bids. I thought I got the terminology right in that way. But it's this line that we absolutely care about. This is from Craig Hope in the Daily Mail, the Newcastle journalist, with Alexander Isak's British record move to Liverpool now looking increasingly likely. And I'll be honest, when we're doing this show, me and Trevor, you were talking about it before the start, hoping, would there be a bomber, as we call it, live on air? So I'm going to struggle to do both tonight, so just keep an eye out on that for me at the same time. But this is exciting. Don't undersell this, or don't let the drama that's led to this bring this down in any way at all. This is a British record fee. This is an elite striker that is set to join Liverpool. Imagine when it happens and it goes through, touch wood, fingers crossed, everything like that, how brilliant it is going to be. When is another question, and obviously things have got to happen. And talking about things that have got to happen, the dominoes are falling, as it says there from Keith Downey. Again, Sky Sports covers Newcastle, doesn't he? All the traffic's going one way. It's going one simple way in terms of Alexander Isak to Liverpool. And it's funny that Mark Daly saying it's all part of the propaganda. It does feel that way, doesn't it? It's got to be spelled out a certain way now by Newcastle that we had the summit meeting. We tried everything. But look at what we've got. Probably Wolfgang and maybe a few others, etc. Yeah. All reports, isn't there? Somewhere around 130, as I would have said to Trev, seems to be in the mix. But at some point over this weekend, Alexander Isak is likely to have had a bid from Liverpool and touchwood by Monday be a Liverpool player. Genuinely half salivating saying that. So we will see what happens with that one. Now, this one I said to Trev and did a bit of digging around this. If you can see it on the screen, Paul Joyce tweeted this, didn't he, a couple of days ago on Wednesday afternoon, saying Stefan Bajcetic set to stay at Liverpool and work with Arne Slot. And this is the key line. And coaching staff on continued development. Now, I've seen a lot of people jump on this one in terms of, oh, this is brilliant. And the Badge fanboys, and that's not trying to be derogatory if you are one, saying that this is his chance, he's going to have a big contribution. Didn't really see it that way and did a bit of digging on this. The genuine info we're getting on Anfield Index is this is more a case of asset protection. McConnell's gone out on loan to Ajax, as we know. Tyler Morton's now with Lyon. Stefan Bajcetic is taking the Tyler Morton role in the squad, i.e. the getting fitness, getting value. And in the worst case, if we do need to use him, he could still be used in the Carabao, for instance. But genuinely, could only go off the info we get. Seeing genuine minutes that way, interesting. And it's funny, isn't it? Because Jimmy Mack there, 30-30 put in the chat panel, if Bajcetic was fit, consistently playing in the starting 11, he was absolute class. I'm going to be honest, see it completely differently. Not saying he doesn't have some talent potential, I'm not disputing that, but Liverpool's midfield against the likes of Bosley, Gravenberch, McAllister, Wirtz now in the mix as well. Different players. I think obviously when you compare him against Endo, it maybe looks different, but could only go with the information we've got. And as it stands right now, that information is this more because they couldn't get a value for him and he stays and goes from there. We'll see. Now, this one, me and Trev have been talking about this one all day. Mark Guehi. And I think Oliver Glasner had a really bad flight back because on the Channel 5, I think it was Channel 5, wasn't it, where the Palace game was for their Conference League second leg, he did say he was quite calm and said, we're hopeful, we'll have to see, I know Mark will be fine. And then he did his press conference today, and as Trev said, clocked it as well. It seemed like, no, we can't lose him at all. It was firm. It was just almost as a, no, we cannot lose him. And I know some Reds will have clocked that and been kind of, oh, okay, is he going to sort of put pressure on Parish? But there's a couple of things with this. Sammy Mockball's article there on the screen that Palace are working on signing 2 centre-backs ahead of sanctioning his move to Liverpool. He won't sign a new deal, and Palace are reluctant to let him leave for nothing. We know Parish has said this. Also, the developments today are absolutely crucial, aren't they? That Palace, and this is from Palace Way, one of the well-known fan accounts, as I say, Palace are exploring multiple options for experienced replacements, including loaning Mohamed Salisu and this name as well. Fabrizio tweeted it earlier, didn't he? And we're expecting that to happen sometime soon. Probably butchering his name, so apologies. JD Cambo will sign for Palace regardless of Guehi's situation. Maybe a bit like Isak, one might be enough overall. And I know as I'm saying that, Sammy Mockball did have in his article that it's got to be 2, but I wouldn't even be surprised if we got something developing tonight. Touch wood, it'd be ace if it was while the show was on, but we'll have to see. Yeah, I do expect with the mood music, with the traffic, and again, we've chased it and looked into it, trying to speak into all that we can at Anfield Index. Everyone expects this to happen at some point. And it will be, if we get it, a great move. Now, Helio Matias there saying Akanji from City is their main focus from Crystal Palace. I suppose jumping the gun a little bit as well there, but that was one we went digging on today, Helio. Information is that AC Milan are all of a sudden the front runners for that. Doesn't mean it totally wasn't guaranteed. There's quite a few suitors apparently for Akanji, but that could be an option as well. And Yanis has put a super chat in there. Lots of questions. Take Trent back or gone forever? Done. We moved on. He made his bed. Just get your booing ready for that European Cup. Does Guehi start over Konate or Kirkez? Not a yes or no. Depends on the game. Depends on the form. For instance, away at Arsenal could be different from at home against Brentford, for instance. Is Rodgers competition for first? Everyone has kind of run with that in the article, and we will talk about it, isn't it? It's definitely going to happen. I hope it does, Yanis. It is one that we will be talking about at the same time. But fair questions. Don't have to agree with all my answers on them. And yeah, Pat, see, people are saying this. Glasner did not say Guehi isn't leaving. People need to stop misquoting this. If you watch the press conference, he kind of alluded to the fact it was a disaster. Glasner also has mentioned before that it's not ultimately his decision, exactly as Chris is saying there. It's Steve Parish that makes the calls, isn't it? And Steve Parish, who's been on TV multiple times, saying, we're not in a position to let players leave on a free. I think we know where this is going, although not all of you agree on that. What an interesting one. What else is in the mix for Liverpool? This one is, I'm not saying head scratching at all, but there's a couple of things with this one. From a Dutch journalist, Rick Elfrink, and it came after the Champions League draw, didn't it, last night, where there was reunions galore. There's a reunion for Hugo Ekitike, Eintracht Frankfurt, and PSV are coming to Anfield. Of course, the former club there, as it says, of Cody Gakpo. And Rick Elfrink put this in a tweet, and a lot of people are now running with it as well and chasing it and trying to find a bit similar to us. As he, it says on the screen there, former PSV player Cody Gakpo close to signing a new contract with Liverpool. Now, I'm going to be deadly honest on this and sort of jump ahead a little bit. From digging with Anfield Index, they've got all the suggestions that, forget this contract a sec, that in the summer, he'd have 2 years left to go and be 27. Which is, if you think, not too far off Luis Diaz's situation this way as well. So there was almost alluded to us that, don't discount a long-term question over Cody Gakpo. And you have to remember, he was linked with Bayern Munich in the summer, wasn't he? At the same time as well. Now, Mark Daly, I think there's value to this, has put it in the chat panel, just protecting his value if a contract is offered. Yeah, but this is also important to say. Again, chased it around, asked people, what have we got on it? Absolutely nada. Genuinely, from the UK side and different bits that we've tried and chased down, nada. So either there's two things going on. Rick Elmfrig, if I'm pronouncing it right, has got an absolute scoop. And if this is true, deserves all the credit for it, by the way. However, if it's not, may have been sold a duffer. It's one of the two, isn't it, realistically? But yeah, have to be honest on this. Not getting a single thing around it at all. So we'll see if anything develops on that. Now, this is one of the big stories of the day. Harvey Elliott, and it links to another player, which we'll get to as well, of course, which I'm sure everyone wants to talk about. Paul Joyce tweeted this earlier, and it's important to say Paul Joyce was the first to tweet it, but there have been numerous patch journos done it. Numerous ones. So there's obviously been a briefing around this, okay? But Paul Joyce tweeted, Red Bull Leipzig have made direct contact with Liverpool over Harvey Elliott as they line up a replacement for Xavi Simons. Couple of key lines. Yeah, we know he's joined Spurs. No bid has been submitted as yet. Now, Lewis Steele also tweeted quite closely afterwards, saying that, Liverpool don't want to let Harvey Elliott go, but almost outline conditions that if an offer's too good to refuse and they do bring an attacking replacement in, I think a lot of people thought Isak possibly, that might be enough. But also, this got released at the same time. So this is from Paul Gorst. And if you actually look at the times, what was that? 10:34 off Joycey, and then just before midday from Paul Gorst, not far afterwards. And Paul Gorst's story, look at that. LFC look to stand firm in their efforts to keep Harvey Elliott from joining Red Bull Leipzig. Now this, they read differently, don't they? This one from Paul Gorst almost reads in terms of he's not for sale. Joyce in talks, no bid yet. Lewis Steele, that almost a halfway house, you could say, but it's a conditional on someone coming in. So they can't all be quite right. But again, this is important to say, I suspect there's a brief been sent. The fact that journalists and patch journos are putting it out so closely, that would be the suspicion, wouldn't it, at the same time? The Harvey one is so funny. The Harvey one, like the mix, even in the chat panel as I'm seeing it now, I think, this personal, so I'll go on my personal opinion first of all. The smart thing for Harvey would be get to a club where you're going to play first-team football, because you've had a season without it. At Liverpool, you're not going to get it. You've got no chance practically, unless there's an injury crisis, at getting it at Liverpool this coming season. You have an ambition to go to the World Cup, as you've told everyone, and fair play. Great attitude, great guy, everyone likes him. But it's just not going to happen at Liverpool for Harvey Elliott. That doesn't make him a bad player. It's just the nature of everything. So we'll see. And I get people say keep him for squad depth, and I know everyone wants Isak and another forward, which of course we'll talk about. But why? Harvey Elliott could almost end up becoming like a Tyler Morton style, and wasting it, for me, wasting his talent. I think he is far better than that. Okay? Just my opinion on all of those. Yeah, and people sort of jump into this one. And I'm going to put it on the screen because Prince Scanner put, Morgan Rodgers will be the signing of the season for me. I can see him slot, maybe that's a pun, in all areas. Morgan Rodgers, this story. Where to even start? Where to even go on this one? Indy Callier tweets this, doesn't he? At 5 o'clock, bang on, couple of hours ago, to say Liverpool, as it says there, are planning to open talks for Morgan Rodgers, but one thing must happen first. And it's naturally linked to Harvey Elliott. I'm not going to open up the article, Isak and all those things. I'll let you read it in your own time if you want. We said on the last transfer show, we were dead clear. Our information was, and we spelt it out fully, me and Trev, Liverpool are looking at Isak and another attacker. But looking and buying are very different things. And what we made clear, our info was that Liverpool obviously need to know exactly with the Isak deal how much they're committed to. And that's the important phrase, because people are going to just look at it and go, if it's 120 or you just divide that by 5. No, it's not going to work that way with this fee. Liverpool need to know this summer how much they're committed to paying, because it's only when that's done, and obviously potentially Harvey leaving as well, they will know what's in the pot, for want of a better expression. That's what they're looking at right now. So until that Isak deal is done, touch wood, there's not really too much to report, is there? Now, I have no doubt, and it's been mentioned before in various formats, that Liverpool have got an interest in Morgan Rodgers Fabrizio Romano's mentioned it before. David Ornstein said they got an interest, but there would be 1,000,001 things need to happen for this to come through. I, personally, would absolutely love it to happen. Of course you would. If Isak, Guehi and Morgan Rodgers arrived before the end of the transfer window, we would win it. I'm being greedy now, but you know what I mean. We'd be so excited. We would look at our depth across the board and think, what a squad. But I don't want to lie to you. Don't have that info right now. That is just the honest truth. We'll see. Listen, we're not going to have to wait long for all of this. And people asking in the chat panel, where did Trev go? Unfortunately, we had a sound nightmare, an issue. If you joined us at the start, you would see. So it just the way it worked. But also a few asking about the headlines. So let's just do a quick wrap up again of the Liverpool information. Wolfgang set to join Newcastle. Not dropped out of the Strand Larson and Visser race. But importantly, that line with Alexander Isak's British record move now looking increasingly likely. And it all, as it says there from Keith Downey, seems like the dominoes are falling for this one. Other story, Paul Joyce mentioned, as we said, that Bajcetic is staying for continued development. But as we were quite honest about, our information is that's more a case of the Tyler Morton role cover. And because essentially, and this does sound harsh, but it's true from our info, they couldn't get what they wanted for him. So that's the next part. Mark Guehi, Palace has set up agreed a deal for one young centre-half. They're looking at others. Glasner last night says we're hopeful. Glasner this morning is quite, no, we absolutely can't go. So people naturally jump into that a little bit. However, again, as we said, full expectation for speaking to different people is that Mark Guehi will become a Liverpool player by the end of the window. Tell you what, if those two land, exciting. And in fact, as we said there, the Palace Way of fan account, it is looking highly likely that Mark Guehi will leave Crystal Palace. This one, as I said, can't literally get anything stood up on this at all. So Rick Elmfrink has either got a massive exclusive that Cody Gakpo is close to signing a new contract, or there is just one that will disappear again. We'll see with that one. And then Harvey Elliott. This is split. Paul Joyce. I mean, there's been a briefing, as we said, clearly, because the different patches are reported. No bid submitted yet for Harvey Elliott, but they're in talks, so we'll have to see. Whereas Paul Gorst saying Liverpool are standing firm, almost a no sale one that way. Lewis Steele, with his tweet, said it's almost conditional, that have to be an offer that's almost Godfather style, too good to refuse. And there was another attacker through the door. We will have to see what happens. But those are the Liverpool ones that we've got for you at the moment. A lot going on in the world of Liverpool, isn't there? And a lot to do before Monday closes.